Rabbits are never far from danger. In a world of constant alarms, every sight and sound needs careful scrutiny. But not all of man's domestic animals are wolves in sheep's clothing. Here, the real threat is to the livelihood of the sheep and the farmer. Each year, around £40 million worth of Britain's farm crop vanishes into the stomachs of rabbits, our most voracious vegetarians. For newborn lambs, their first close encounter with a rabbit is a hesitant affair. Soon they will become more familiar with their silent and diminutive companions of the fields. Few animals arouse such a multitude of emotions. To some, the rabbit is a cute and cuddly pet. To others, they're vermin to be ruthlessly pursued. Man and rabbit have shared a long love-hate relationship ever since the 11th century, when they were first introduced to Britain by Norman invaders. But nowadays, man is their greatest enemy.
I'm even told I was coming into the fox yesterday.
Today, the economic damage is so great that a permanent state of war has been declared against them. A war we show few signs of winning. But just how much do we know about these remarkable animals? Let's explore that secret life, carried on out of sight of prying human eyes. Ironically, much of our early knowledge came from those who sought to trap rabbits in their underground labyrinths. Ferreters became familiar with the extensive burrow systems known as warrens when they frequently lost their ferrets, domestic polecats, in the maze of subterranean tunnels. In fact, ferreting is an extremely inefficient method of capture. Warrens excavated by generations of inhabitants form a complex web of deep passageways in which the rabbits can hide. Specially constructed bolt holes allow them to escape. Rabbits are highly gregarious, living in small territorial breeding groups with the warren at the heart of their society. Even for the kings of the warren, like this dominant buck, life, it seems, is a nerve-wracking experience. To survive, he relies on the keenness of his senses. Long, mobile ears sweep the environment, amplifying the slightest sound. The prominent eyes have an enormous field of vision. Sensitive, quivering nostrils monitor the airwaves for the scents which are of vital importance in rabbit communications. With flaring nostrils, eyes and ears working in combination, a formidable array of senses are focused on potential danger. Loud stamps from the powerful hind paws alert companions to any threat. But rabbits are so jittery, they easily panic one another. Aggression underlies a great deal of their social behavior. Territories around the home warren have clearly defined boundaries which are frequently patrolled and scent marked by members of the warren community. Each breeding group contains on average 3 adult bucks and up to 5 does. It's spring, the breeding season has arrived, and the rabbits in the colony continuously interact, checking on one another's identity and sexual condition. The rabbit inhabits a world dominated by smell. Recognition within a group is achieved by the presence of a colony cocktail odour, a combination of the various secretions from anal and chin glands, which together with urine they spread liberally around their home range and, on occasions, all over each other. Rabbits produce 2 kinds of dropping. Small, moist pellets, still rich in protein, are taken directly into the mouth as they leave the anus. These are chewed and re-ingested. The other, more familiar form, are dry and compact and dropped at traditional sites known as latrines. The surrounding area is daubed with scent from glands beneath the chin. The latrines function as information processing centres, providing an up-to-the-minute chemical news service about the sex, age and social status of the colony members. Signals are sent through a sort of smelly communications network. Scraping the ground helps expose edible roots, but it's most often employed as a threat display between rivals. Dominant bucks on border patrols often encounter bachelor satellite males living on the periphery of warren society. Unattached males will sneak past a less than vigilant buck to flirt with the resident does. Usually the intruder moves on when threatened, but sometimes challengers collide in fierce battles which shatter the fragile warren peace. Fur flies as they thrust home vicious bites and kicks. Their long, needle-sharp claws can rip open unprotected flesh. Chisel-like teeth deliver slashing bites. Rabbits sometimes fight to the death, and warren dictators show little mercy to their enemies, banishing the vanquished to a life of exile on the edge of society. For the does, pregnancy is a time of forced labour. As her buck lazes nearby on guard duty, she excavates a nest chamber or stop, where she will give birth to her kittens. Stops within the warren offer more protection to the young, so does frequently squabble over possession of these prime nesting sites. Although rabbits are polygamous, stable pairs often form, and troublemaking does are summarily dealt with by bucks who perform a protective role for their preferred partners. Bucks pay close attention to the progress of stock building and carefully investigate any disputes which do arise. The doe gathers bundles of nesting material with surprising dexterity and ingenuity. Shallow stops can be dug in less than 24 hours. Fur plucked from her body will complete a comfortable lining to the nest. In the short breeding season from February to September, she may have up to 5 litters, constructing a fresh nest site each time. But not all are so industrious. Some have perfected the art of wary relaxation. The rabbit is at home virtually anywhere in the British Isles. It's colonised offshore islands, mountains and moorlands, but it's perhaps most abundant in coastal areas where rich, undisturbed swards of wildflowers and grasses grow down to the sea. In the closed population of islands, such as Skomer off the Welsh coast, colourful mutations, like characters from Alice in Wonderland, browse amongst the flowers. These natural varieties have enabled breeders to produce numerous domestic strains, all descended from the wild rabbit. Each year, the tranquility of the rabbit's life on the coast is rudely disrupted by the arrival of thousands of puffins. Rabbit and puffin may not enjoy the same cuisine. There are no records of rabbits tucking into fish, and no one suggested a puffin predilection for flowerheads. But once the puffins have completed courtship formalities, their main preoccupation is securing adequate breeding burrows. What could be more convenient than the ready-made rabbit accommodation, even if it means evicting the sitting tenants? So the puffins borrow the burrows. Rabbits may have no fondness for fish, but on the shoreline, waves wash up an unexpected delicacy: seaweed. Seaweed contains valuable nutrients unavailable elsewhere. Perhaps something in the seaweed induces delusions about being the King Canute of rabbitdom. But storms, like the sea, can't be kept at bay. On the exposed coast, they spring up quickly, and their full ferocity is not easily avoided. Cold, windy, rainy weather can make the rabbit's life a misery. Fur is waterproofed with secretions from head glands, which are spread over the body during grooming. From the thick, woolly underfur, longer, stronger hairs emerge and give the coat its colour. But when the going gets really rough, rabbits retreat to the comparative comfort of home. Flooding is an ever-present risk to low-lying warrens, and many are totally washed out in severe downpours when rivers burst their banks. In such circumstances, individuals trapped on isolated, newly formed islands or rapidly eroding riverbanks have no need of a lifebelt. They can swim, and often have to. In fact, rabbits are excellent swimmers, and on the coast occasionally visit inshore islands to feed at low tide, swimming back if marooned by the incoming tide. By moonlight, another creature creeps into the rabbit's life. The Minotaur, our most impressive dung beetle, a specialist on rabbit pellets, one of the few insects capable of extracting any more nutrient from these already recycled droppings. The beetles dig their own miniature tunnels beneath the latrines, popping up to drag away a pellet upon which they will feed and lay their eggs. One month after a successful mating, the pregnant doe gives birth, alone in the stop, usually at night. The kittens arrive in their underground world, blind, naked and deaf. They will soon be left alone in the fur-lined nest, huddling together for warmth and comfort. Does are incredibly prolific breeders. Within a few hours of giving birth to a litter of up to 8 kittens, she may mate once more, and in a further month have another large family. Dawn is not always a time of peaceful tranquility for the rabbit. During these early morning hours, rabbits increase their feeding rate and often graze some distance from their home tunnels. By doing so, they run a greater risk of sudden surprise attacks. On occasions, a mood of wary expectancy seems to brood over the warren. Foxes are the rabbit's most powerful foes and will rip open shallow tunnels to capture their prey. Badgers also take their toll of young kittens in this way. But deeper underground, the rabbits are safe. Astonishingly, foxes sometimes have their dens in large warrens, leaving their immediate neighbours unharmed, perhaps on the principle that food in one's own larder is best left for hard times. Kittens trapped near the surface in their underground prison are vulnerable targets. To minimise the amount of attention drawn to the stop, their mother visits them only once every 24 hours for a few minutes suckling. The kittens develop rapidly, and it's a measure of the rabbit's phenomenal fertility that within 5 months these tiny youngsters may be caring for a litter of their own. After each visit, the doe meticulously covers up and camouflages the entrance to the stop, scratching and trampling the earth to make it appear like just another area of poor scraped ground. This helps eliminate any lingering odours, a necessary precaution against discovery by prowling predators. Secure below, the kittens have nothing to do but wait until she calls on them once again. An air vent to the surface ensures that they won't suffocate. Soon they will move from the nest to the main warren and set off on their first timid venture into the world at the end of the tunnel. The perils they will encounter on the road to adulthood are not long in making themselves obvious. The black-backed gull is only one of a host of predators who will swallow up weak or injured kittens in the months ahead. In one warren of 280 young weaned, only 28 remained alive after 1 year. Kittens are not even safe from their own kind. Adult does will kill unrelated youngsters if they're not protected by their own mothers or in the safe custody of a policing buck. But rabbits are nature's great survivors, and it's their astonishing ability to colonize new domains and bear numerous kittens which guarantees that whatever the dangers in a threatening world where life is cheap and expendable, they, their children, and their children's children shall never be defeated.